following show is controversial and contains content you may find offensive. Listener discretion is advised. 98 FM.
This is 98 FM's Dublin Talks with Adrian Kennedy.
Tuesday, the 28th day of March 2017. And how are you this morning? I hope everything is good with you. Between now and midday today, this is Adrian Kennedy. This is 98 FM's Dublin Talks. On today's programme, amongst other things, we're going to be hearing a little bit more about something that was mentioned on the news just a moment ago, and that is that is extremely popular on kids' mobile phones. It's kind of hard to explain, but we are going to explain it because I think parents need to understand how this thing works. It's called SimSimi, and it is one of the most popular apps on the app stores at the minute. And we're going to be talking about how dangerous it actually is in terms of bullying other kids. Okay, we'll talk about that a little bit later on. We'll be hearing a story of a dog having been run over. We will talk about a mother who smacked the legs off her child in swords yesterday. Nobody did anything about it though. And much more besides. Between now and midday today, this is 98 FM's Dublin Talks. I'm Adrian Kennedy, and that man there is the legend from our sports department, Mr. Darren Cleary. And when I say legend, he is a legend because there I was watching Sky Sports and there you were.
There I was. I'm waiting for the check to come in, the royalties to start rolling in.
Really?
Hasn't happened yet.
Sorry, Darren asked a question of Martin O'Neill the other day and it was used on Sky, his question and all.
Absolutely. They said the greatest sports reporter in Dublin. In my mind, they didn't say it on the television, but in my mind, that's what they wanted to say. But obviously, you know, TV got to be a little bit more subtle than that.
Welcome, Darren. Good to have you with us today.
Great to be here.
We have a bit of peace and quiet in the studio today, which
Isn't
is
it lovely?
It is actually.
Jeremy's not here. The place
is such a relaxed
stink.
atmosphere. Yeah, it's such a relaxed atmosphere today.
Haven't fallen over a scooter today.
Anyway, what have you got for me, Darren?
Well, Adrian, first story is people sleeping with things that they shouldn't sleep with.
People sleeping with things that they shouldn't sleep with.
Yeah. Have you ever woken up in the morning, looked to the person beside you and say, kind of regret this? I'll tell you why.
Yeah, go on.
I'll tell you why.
Do please tell me why.
Lots of people do this. Half of dog and cat owners reveal that they sleep with their pets. Well, some people have woke up beside a dog and regret it. Some people wake up and say, morning, Buster. Who's a good boy, Buster?
Right. This is something that has been known to happen in our house.
You do it?
From time to time.
Your dog?
From time to time, no, not every day.
Do you let him sleep in the house?
Just as... What?
You let him sleep in the house?
Well, obviously we let him sleep in the house.
Whereabouts in the house?
He normally sleeps in the kitchen.
Can't let him sleep in
but
the kitchen.
odd time as a little treat for our Sparky, he comes to bed with us.
Sparky comes to bed with you?
Yeah.
Adrian, that's terrible.
Why?
Because one, it's very, very unhygienic.
He's spotless, he is.
18% let people eat dinner. The dogs eat their dinner from the plate. 32% people have animal hair in their food if they let the dog sleep in the kitchen. Have you ever been eating your dinner and thought, Sparky, that's your hair? Adrian, it's not normal.
Okay.
Are you not worried about the bugs and, you know...
firstly, our dog is spotless, yeah?
Okay.
He is. We shower him regularly, we bath him regularly, so he's fairly clean. And from time to time, we do let him lay on the bottom of our bed. And you're telling me I shouldn't be doing this?
Absolutely not. It's terrible. It's very unhygienic.
But nobody knows our dog like we know our dog. And, okay, the thing about hairs in your dinner... So what? I shouldn't even be letting them sleep in the kitchen.
But would you let your cat sleep in your...
I hate cats.
So what's the difference?
I just don't like
let the dog sleep in the bed and not the cat.
No, the cat.
Animals should not be in beds. I think someone who
But you're also telling me that my dog shouldn't even be in the kitchen.
Well, the kitchen isn't a great place for him because of the hair. You don't want a hairy...
So where do I put Sparky?
The Sparky have his own little area. What about the hall? What if Sparky lived in your hall? Or your den?
It's a bit colder in the hall.
Or your drawing room. Adrian, you have a massive house.
I don't have a den or a drawing room now.
Sparky could sleep in your library.
Oh, no.
That's where you keep your books.
No. Sparky stays in the kitchen, and you're telling me that that's unhygienic.
And your bed is even worse.
The odd time he'd stay in the bed, and you're saying that's even worse again.
Yeah, absolutely.
So what, I just have to throw him out the back?
Well, animals are wild. Dogs were wild.
Is there anybody else who does this? No, it's not every day. In fact, last night, I went to bed early, to watch something on my iPad, and that was grand. And Sparky lay on the bed while I was watching this television show on my iPad. But then when I was going to sleep, then I threw him back downstairs.
So you didn't... So is it depending on your mood?
He didn't sleep on the bed
Sparky
last night, but he was allowed to stay for a while, have a little rest.
And then he went down to the
kitchen. Is there anybody else who does this, who allows their dog to sleep on the bed, either all the time or from time to time? With us, it's from time to time. As a little treat. If we've been out and whatever, and he's delighted to see us home, the odd time we let him come on upstairs and hop on the bed.
But, what if he does some stuff while he's in the bed?
He never has. Do his wee or whatever?
His wee or...
No.
Dogs fart. Is he ever surprise himself by... You ever see a dog scare himself by farting?
Yeah.
What's that sound?
I actually have. It's hilarious.
Has Sparky ever done that for you?
He may have.
Has he ever got shocked by it? No, I wouldn't do it. We had a cat. We didn't even let him come into the house often. You used to let him, roam around.
Does anybody else do this? Stephen just texted in. Adrian, Sparky obviously licks his nether regions and then into your bed and probably licks your face. Now, you see, I'm not really good with him licking my face. I don't like him licking my face. Now, am I the only one here who actually allows the dog to sleep on the bed? Text or WhatsApp us 0877 98 98 98. 0877 98 98 98.
I really hope you're the only one that does that. I don't think many people would do that. It's very odd, Adrian.
It's very odd?
Yeah, it's a strange thing to do.
Really?
Your bed, where you sleep, where your wife is, where you do other stuff.
Yeah.
That's not a place for a dog. Or you can't have the dog there.
Sorry, is anybody with me on this? Do you let your dog sleep on the bed? Text or WhatsApp us 0877 98 98 98. Like I said, it would be the exception rather than the rule. It's a little treat for him every now and again. But like I said, last night he was lying on the bed for about an hour and a half while I was watching something on my iPad.
You see, you're mollycoddling that dog.
We do mollycoddle him,
No, I think Sparky should be put out the back, let him sleep rough.
No. Yeah, I mean, there's a message. Absolutely, you have to get your cuddles in. I mean, there's nothing nicer than a cuddle from Sparky.
Well, Donna lets her cat sleep on the bed, and knowing your thoughts about cat, Adrian, you'll have a lot to say about that.
No, cats are disgusting.
But what's the difference? What do cats do that's different? Like, they lick themselves.
Well, Noel, I'm being given a lecture here about not letting the dog on the bed by Darren. I don't know who you think you are, Darren, coming in here throwing your weight around and to start telling me what to do. Noel, you also let your dog sleep on the bed.
We have a Jack Russell, Adrian. His name is Rafa.
His name is what? Turn down the radio.
Rafa. He's a Jack Russell.
His name is Rapid.
Rafa. After Benitez.
And
Rafa. You have a Spanish Jack Russell.
After Benitez. He's a lovely little thing. He's only short of being a human being. He's very fast.
Here, I'll have to kind of stop you there because he's not a human being, okay? Much and all as I love... Darren, have you ever seen Sparky? Hang on, I'm going to show you.
Give us a picture of Sparky.
There's Sparky there.
Adrian, I would not let that thing near my bedroom.
Really?
No.
He's the image of you.
No, absolutely not. That has no place in the house.
No,
in the bed.
Does the dog sleep in your bed all the time?
24/7. He's only short of eating with us.
You see,
he's lovely, and he's very placid, and he doesn't make a mess, and he's very...
I know, and I'm with you on that. Sparky doesn't make a mess either, and he doesn't wee or poo on the bed or anything like, because he'd get murdered if he did.
He's more toys, Adrian, than I ever had.
He's more toys than you ever had?
Cuddly teddy bears all in one corner.
Right, so you really have him spoiled rotten.
And I tell you, Adrian, he's walked from Dominic Street to Donnymount and back.
And then hops into your bed?
And then he's knackered in.
Darren, give me the reasons why we shouldn't be doing this.
It's unhygienic.
Yeah.
You're a little bit weird if you do it.
You're a little bit weird?
That's just my own feelings.
Oh, right.
That's not the scientific. I just think anyone who sleeps with a dog is a little bit strange.
Do you have a dog?
No, I don't have a dog anymore.
Well, then you wouldn't understand. Okay, you wouldn't understand. Isn't that right, Noel?
That's it.
You need to be a dog owner. Before we got Sparky, we had no intention of getting a dog. We have him 6 years, and we had no intention of getting a dog, yeah? But then Sparky came wandering into our lives. He was a rescue dog, and bang, love at first sight.
But fair enough. You can be friends with that dog, Adrian. You can walk him from Dominic Street to Dollymount.
Yeah.
But why'd you have to let him sleep with you? You can't love him that much.
He's a part of the family.
We had a cat that was
Isn't that
kidnapped.
right, Noel? You had a cat you had a cat who was kidnapped?
Yeah, well, we're pretty sure it was kidnapped. Cats don't run away.
Who robs cats?
Well, this was a very sound cat. Like, he was good crack. He was nice to be around. Friendly cat. Not one of these cats that scratch you. And after living with us for a year, just one day we went out the back and the cat was gone.
Maybe you got a bang of a car.
No, I don't think so. We didn't find any cat bodies around the place.
Amy, you love nothing more than bedtime cuddles with your dog.
Yeah, of course.
See, Darren, you probably just won't understand.
Amy, are you a bit lonely?
No, I have a boyfriend. We live together. He loves the dog in the bed as well.
Is there not stuff that you would do in the bed that it would be inappropriate for a dog to be watching? You don't be worried
Well,
about...
she wouldn't be there, obviously. Come on now.
You'd kick her out for that point.
Yeah, no, she doesn't stay in the bed like for the whole night. She's a bit too hyper, but no, she comes in for her cuddles every now and again.
And then she heads off to her own bed.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, no, like I said to you, Darren, last night, that was me and Sparky. He hopped up onto the bed, couple of cuddles while I was watching my show, and then off he went down to his own bed.
And
what's the harm?
his own bed, right, Adrian? Do you know you're meant to clean your dog's bed as often as you clean your own bed?
Yeah.
How often do you wash Sparky's bed? How often do you change his covers?
Last Christmas?
Freshen his pillows. Last Christmas. So
No, we do a little bit more.
that maggoty old bed, then you let him go up and lie and roll around in your bed.
Oh, actually, you're turning me off it now. Katie, do you sleep with the dog? Katie's dog was barred from the bed.
That's no way to talk about her fiancé.
Anyway, there is nothing nicer. You just don't understand, Darren. There is nothing nicer than cuddles with your dog. I let my two dogs sleep in bed every night because I love them. Says one texter. Where's that other one? I let my Jack Russell sleep with me, and he is cleaner than most people, and he sleeps sounder than my partner, says Sharon. Now, on the odd time that Sparky does sleep on the bed, yeah, he doesn't disturb anybody. He just lies there. You wouldn't even know he was there.
Does he snore? Does Sparky snore?
A little bit.
Yeah, no.
A little bit, but you wouldn't even know. You wouldn't even notice
But
it.
a bed is no play. Adrian, he has his own bed.
I know, but
You need to cut the cord. I think your mammy and
somebody
Sparky
just
too
sent me a
much.
message here. Look, this is my dog's face after I told him to get off the bed. How am I supposed to say no? Now have a look at the poor old thing. Look, he's just comfortable. Look.
Don't care if he's comfortable. It's not his place to be. You have to leave dogs.
We'll see how you change when you get a dog, Darren.
I had a dog. He got hit by a bus.
There you go. You no
Maybe
care.
if I kept him in the bed, he wouldn't be hit by the bus.
You
but-
may have heard me mention this before. I'm getting married later this year, yeah? Around Christmas time.
Well, that stopped the dogging.
What?
Would you stop bringing the dog to bed then?
Well, let's stop the dogging. I'm not into that.
No, but bringing the dog
It's
to
not
bed.
my scene at all, Darren.
You're confused at a different dogging.
These are the top 10 wedding fights that engaged couples have. And I want you to text me on 0877 98 98 98. What was the one thing in the run-up to your wedding that you rowed about the most? Okay? Obviously, one of the things is family and who's going to be invited and who's not going to be invited. Causes murder. Okay?
That is a minefield.
And, you might say we're having 120 people at the wedding, and before you know it, there's 160 people coming to the wedding because you have to invite every auntie and cousin and everything else. I want you to text us on 0877 98 98 98. 0877 98 98 98. What is the biggest thing you rowed about in the run-up to your wedding? I want to hear what it was that you rowed about the most. Because, like I said, one of the things is family, about who is going to be invited and, more importantly, who's not going to be invited. That's when you really get into rows. Who's not going to be invited to the wedding? Text or WhatsApp us on 0877 98 98 98. 0877 98 98 98. What was the biggest thing that you rowed about when in the run-up to your wedding? Because if you say you didn't row about anything, I won't believe you. Everybody has a row about something in the run-up to the wedding. I'll give you one example. For example, He's good friends with an old girlfriend and wants her to attend the wedding. You wouldn't mind if she was dead. Now, I don't know how people feel about that, about ex-girlfriends or ex-boyfriends being invited to the wedding. That's a bit of stress, that is.
Well, here's the one that would stress me out the most. I don't mind my family because I don't have to see them every week. And cousins and aunties, I mean, I don't really care about them. I wouldn't be any great fans of them, and I don't have to see them regularly. It's the work part that would stress me out to no end. Who do you invite from work? Because you have to see these people 5 days a week. What if you're like, yes, here's an invite for you, and how are you? And an invite for you. Who do you invite from work?
Big problem.
Massive problem. You probably don't really want them there, but you'll have to probably bring them.
Well, I wasn't going to invite you, Darren.
Well, it's be a bit late now. I haven't got the invite though. But
we haven't sent out the invite yet.
Oh, so I've got a bit of time. Who are you bringing from here? You have a long list. Well, you have to bring Jeremy. You've no choice.
I've no choice?
Yeah,
he's the last person I'd invite to my wedding.
He's your radio best man.
No, he'd actually be the last person I'd invite to my wedding.
Why? Is that because he's no crack at a wedding?
Because he's such a snob when it comes to weddings.
He sits around calling everyone scum.
Yeah.
You're scum.
No,
You're
and he'd sit there judging everybody. I look at him having another drink. No.
Yeah.
Anyway, we won't come to my wedding because our wedding is a child-free zone. And Jeremy has said on this show before that he won't go to a wedding if his child's not invited. So there's no children at the wedding, so he won't be going.
Why aren't you bringing children to the wedding?
I don't want children at the wedding.
Did that cause a row? I'd say that's up high on the list. Deciding to bring no children.
Believe it or not, it is on the list. Whether or not children are invited to the wedding. Our wedding is a non-child wedding. There won't be anybody under 18 at this wedding.
Strictly under 18?
Strictly under 18, yeah.
That's a little bit mean, isn't it?
That's the way it is.
That's harsh.
And like I said, Jeremy has said he won't go to a wedding if his child's not invited, so his child's not invited.
Did you just do that so Jeremy wouldn't be there?
How'd you guess?
It's tough going.
He shouldn't have ever said it on the air.
Yeah.
My ex-boyfriend is going to my wedding because he lives 2 doors from my fiancée and they're very good friends. That's a little bit awkward now.
That's a very understanding or very stupid woman. I'm not sure which one.
The seating plan is the thing that led to big rows. Actually, here's a question. I'm going to a wedding later this year, and they have a seating plan that's very, very different. Okay, here's how their seating plan works. When you arrive at the venue, there's a big, huge bowl of balls. Listen to this now. There's a big, huge bowl of balls, and as you're walking in, you pick a ball, and say it says number 7. Yeah, you're sitting at table number 7.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
So it's like a lottery.
It's like a lottery. Next person comes along, they pick a ball, it says number 3, you're sitting at table number 3. So it's a complete mishmash, a mashup.
You have to sit with random strangers all night.
Yeah. But that's how you get to know people.
Oh, yeah, but,
Has anybody ever done that at a wedding? I'd love to hear from you on 6797 98.1. I think it's very clever. Another way of doing it is to mix up families. So on a table you might have 10 people. You make sure that they're mixed from the 2 different families. So at least they start integrating.
We went to a wedding last April and it was like an older person wedding. So we were on the kind of young table, me and the girlfriend, and we were on a table full of people who had just got engaged or engaged in the last 12 months, 18 months. And it was awkward for the whole thing because they're like, are you guys engaged? No. When are you going to get engaged? I don't know. I've just met you. Why are you asking me that? I think it's very, very intense. I'm not a big fan of sitting with strangers at weddings. Not a big fan at all.
Really? But how else do you get to know people? I've been at weddings where I've sat with complete strangers at the wedding, and by the end of the night you're having great crack together. Because you have to talk to people when you're sitting at the table with them.
Yeah, but you're not always going to have great crack. You could get a table of weirdos.
You could, but...
Like, are you going to put all the weirdos on one table at your wedding?
Yeah, probably,
You have to invite people that you don't want there. You have to bring them. Are you just going to put them all together so maybe you don't have to
you're not invited. So
I know, but I'm
won't be that many weirdos.
I'll take Jeremy's spot.
Patsy, you're on 98FM. Hiya, Patsy.
Hi, how are you?
Now, Patsy, you had no arguments in the run-up to your wedding.
No, none whatsoever. No, it was grand.
Why?
Because I eloped. I went to Vegas with my husband and we just got married there and
just
there was
came
no
home,
arguments about who inviting who and
just come home and told everyone you were married.
Yeah, that was that. Done. Dusted. Happy days.
And
everyone was grand and everyone was fine about it. Everyone was grand.
How did people react to it? How did people react to the fact that you came home married?
They were all grand about it. Like, they were all kind of like, see, my parents are dead, unfortunately, and like, so I'd no one kind of here to upset, if you get me.
Yeah.
And my husband's mother was fine. She was just like, yeah, just if you're doing it again, let me know.
If you're doing it again.
Yeah, I know, yeah. Like, yeah, it was fine.
And
It was grand.
did you even have a party when you came back?
Oh, we did, yeah. We just had, like, rented a room upstairs in the pub and invited everyone to that and got a wedding cake, dressed up in our gear and stuff again, like...
Throw on the old wedding gear there and we'll have another wedding.
Yeah, we might as well get, like, 2 out into the dress, like...
Well, here's some of the things. This is the list of things that couples argue about in the run-up to their wedding day, yeah? One is the groom's involvement, or lack thereof, because an awful lot of men just couldn't be bothered. They just couldn't be arsed. They don't want to know about the flowers. They don't want to know about the invites. They don't want to know about any of that detail.
But why would they?
All they really want to know is how late is the bar open the night of the wedding?
But why would they be involved?
Because they should be. It's a joint ceremony.
Nah, men don't grow up their entire lives dreaming of weddings. That's such a women thing to do. The dream of your
men
dream
want to know is
wedding
when does the party start?
Absolutely.
And all of that. Here's another thing they argue about. Money, obviously. Money is a big argument over who's paying for what or whatever. Religion, believe it or not, is a subject of many rows. Friends, who you're inviting, because, you know, I might, if we're getting married, I might like some of your friends, but I mightn't like all of your friends, and there might be one of your friends that I hate and I don't want at the wedding, but you want to invite him or her to the wedding, so that causes murder as well. And the bridezilla behaviour of the woman that you're about to marry, literally behaving like a bridezilla. That'd be our Katie. Seriously, I've never
Katie's
heard...
gone full bridezilla.
Yeah,
in the last
she
few
really
weeks.
has. Honest to God, bridezilla. Julie!
Hiya.
Julie, you got I'm thinking maybe I should have gone down this road. You were married a year before anybody even knew you were married.
Yeah, that's the best way to do it because, you know, you don't have to prior to your
I'm losing you there, Donna. Sorry, say that again, please. Oh, no, sorry. Julie, say that again. No, we've completely
She's
lost
gone
her.
and got married again. She's disappeared for a wedding.
Julie went off and got married. She was married a whole year before they told anybody. Are you there, Julie? No, we'll try and get her back in a second. Donna has sent a text in. The numbered balls, I think it's a great idea. That way you can't say you put me next to so-and-so and go and sulk. The more I'm thinking about this, the more I like this idea.
So you're going to have numbered balls.
I think it's a very different idea.
Are you being active in this grooming? Are you taking this seriously?
A little bit, yeah, a little bit.
Are you worried about floral arrangements?
No.
Are you worried about where people are going to sit?
No.
Are you worried about who's going to turn up with a kid?
No, not really.
So you're just passing the buck.
Just going along, yeah.
What time's the bar open, missus?
That's exactly it. I wonder how do people feel about that numbered balls idea? So say you have 20 tables and you have 5 couples sitting at each table. You put balls into a little tumbler, and as you're walking into the room to sit down for your dinner, you pick a ball out. I'm sitting at table number 7. And like that texter said, then you can't be accused of, I can't believe you sat me next to him. Nothing to do with me, you picked the ball.
It's a luck, it's random. It's a lottery.
Now, Julie, are you there now?
Hiya.
Okay, so what made you not tell anybody that you got married?
Well, the whole thing is different religions would have caused absolute killings, you know what I mean, between families, where we were going to get married, you know, church, registry office. So we decided stop everything and get married, and then a year later we tell everybody, because then there's no party, there's no, you know what I mean, it's done. It's too late.
Yeah, okay. And where did you get married?
In the registry office.
And did you literally go on your own?
Oh, yeah, the two of us just went, and people that happened to be there became our witnesses, yeah. Random strangers.
Random strangers were your witnesses?
Yeah.
The two of you just got married, and then it was a year before you told anybody?
Absolutely, yeah. We're 17 years married now, so hey.
But hang on, how did you break the news, like to family and friends? Oh, by the way, we got married last year.
Because my mother was saying, you know, you're living together and you're not married. I said, listen, we're married. Don't worry about
me
me.
back, missus.
And that's literally how you broke it to her.
Exactly, yes, that's it, yeah.
And what did she say?
Well, what could she say? Because she was the one saying you should be married. So she was like, oh, well, okay.
She's got to get some fright when you tell her the Holy Communion's next week for the kid she doesn't know you have.
No, well, he's 11. She knows who he is.
And come here, Julie, what do you think of the idea of the numbered balls going into a wedding reception?
Oh no, absolutely. It is a good idea. As you said, it forces people to get to know each other. It forces families to integrate. Of course, it's a great idea.
Because there is nothing worse than a wedding, and you can see like all those tables over there are her family, and all those tables over there are his family. And
Absolutely.
And ne'er the twain shall meet. They just don't blend with each other.
Because I remember my sister's wedding, that was very much so the case. One side was one family, the other side was the other family.
Yeah.
And if we had to have a numbered, if you had to have a lotto, it would have been brilliant, because it would have forced people to sit and talk to each other. Yeah, absolutely. It's a brilliant idea.
Here's another message. I think the numbered ball is a fantastic idea. If I was getting married again, I'd run with it. As far as I know, we're invited to your wedding, Adrian. And the balls get a thumbs up from me.
They must be over
absolutely.
18.
I hope that texter is over 18, whoever that person is.
Yeah. Adrian Kennedy, no PG stuff at his wedding.
Anyway, one final story, Darren.
Yes, Adrian, your neighbours, will they get an invite to your wedding?
Our neighbours who only moved...
They're listening right now, so be careful.
They moved out of their house about a month ago, yeah? And they were really good neighbours, but they've moved house. But they will be getting an invite, yeah.
So you get on with your neighbours?
With our old neighbours, and we haven't really met the new neighbours yet.
So
we kind of said hello.
They have a little bit of time to get on your good list.
Yes, exactly, yeah.
But this study, Adrian, the one in front of me, 1 in 3 people don't get on with their neighbours, apparently. New research into the state of the nation's community spirit found millions of us really don't like the people that we see almost every day. The common complaints, what's the biggest issue you have with your neighbours? Not your old neighbours, you obviously got on well with them. But what do you think people fight with their neighbours about?
Oh, all sorts of things. Hedges. Big row.
Massive row.
Yeah, hedges.
Rows before, big rows over hedges.
Before our neighbours moved, before our old neighbours moved, there was a load of trees in between our house and their house, and for years I'd been at them, can we chop down those trees because they're blocking out the sunlight, and they always said no. And then when they told us they were moving, I asked again, go on, off you go. So we got rid of all the trees. Yeah, we got rid of all the trees. But yeah, it's a huge row with people. Hedges. What else is on the list?
Up there, Adrian. Noise complaints. Giving out about the TV, giving out about the parties. Now, I have grand neighbours. I've never had any kind of bother. But 1 or 2 of them have got new kitchens in the last few years. And I feel like I should have more parties as revenge, because they start building their kitchens at 7 in the morning and they'll still be building this kitchen at 7 o'clock at night. The noise of construction. Neighbours, they should have to ask before doing stuff like that.
But you have to do the work.
Yeah, but you should do it at a reasonable time and check to make sure it works. Make sure it works with your neighbours.
Yeah, but what if your neighbours say, well, I sleep until 2?
Well, then maybe you should start at 12. That's a nice bit in the middle.
Yeah, go on, what else do neighbours row about?
They worry about noise complaints. Pets. Pets is a big one.
Yeah, I know it is, yeah. I know it is.
What do your neighbours think about you and your dog in the bed?
Well, they've met our dog, because our dog goes wandering into their garden. This is our new neighbours, yeah. Our old neighbours love the dog. The new neighbours like the dog. I won't say they love the dog.
They just like him.
Yeah.
See, I saw Sparky and I thought, he's a grand dog, but I would be getting excited when I saw the picture.
Really?
I was like, yeah, he's fine. He looks like most dogs you'd see.
The cheek of you.
I'm just... You see him as a person, you see him as a personality, I just see him as an animal.
Let me go back to the weddings thing. Anna, you had a bit of a different approach to your wedding.
Yes,
Which was, what did you do?
When people arrived at the church, they were given a buttonhole. They were asked if they were with somebody.
Right.
And they were given a buttonhole which had a particular colour flower on it, just randomly given out by people at the door, or ushers, I think they are. And that was donated which table they sat on, because we had different coloured flowers on all the tables.
Oh, so it's kind of like the balls idea?
Yeah.
Right.
Just a little bit.
And how did people react?
With doing it.
Because obviously a table plan causes murder.
Yeah, we didn't want to go through that. So
yeah, you see, I'm not mad about going through all that either, bar the top table. It just seems like it'll cause absolute mayhem.
Yeah, and we had to... There was a couple of people, because they should have been on the top table, and they weren't, that we put on a table that was very close. So it was a cream flower, and they were given that cream flower, but everybody else was just random. We had a very small wedding. There was only about 60 or 70 people. But it seemed to work, and people were mixed up. And
you see, I'm really tempted to go down this road rather than do a whole wedding table plan. I really am.
You're going to go home to your house
it
tonight.
Worked really well. Buttonholes and corsages are a little bit more money, but we had a small wedding.
And did anybody complain about it?
No.
Because I can just feel people complaining about it. You know, I didn't want to sit beside him. I wanted to sit beside my brother.
We were asked, like, way before, you doing a table plan, and we just kind of said, yeah, we'll get around to it. Or you'll find out who you're sitting next to when you see it there, because there's going to be loads of changes. We kind of just didn't really mention what we were doing, and we kind of said from day one, well, when we do it, this is the way we're going to do it.
Well, you have me really tempted now. Thanks, Anna.
No problem.
Bye.
You're going to go home to your house tonight, Adrian, right?
I'm going to go. No, on the way home, I'm going to buy a set of bingo balls.
That's what's going to happen.
Yeah,
There's going to be a new thing on the list tomorrow.
Balls. Yeah.
Things that couples fight about before the wedding. Getting ideas in your radio shows for the seating arrangements. You're going to go home with a big bag of balls. Say, look, love, I've sorted the seats.
Yep.
And then you'll be barred. You'll be barred from making any plans.
This is 98FM's Dublin Talks. I'm Adrian Kennedy. We're here till midday today. We're back in just a moment with a warning for parents.
If it's happening in Dublin, we're on it.
98FM's Dublin Talks.
If you're a parent, I want you to listen very closely. Have you heard of a phone app called SimSimi? Well, if you haven't, you need to listen very closely. I got an email just a few minutes ago. And it says, "Hi Adrian, did you know all Irish kids are at risk right now? As I'm sending this to you, our children are at serious risk online through their phones, their computers and their tablets. The risk is more serious than ever before, and every parent needs to know how to protect their children, and children need to know how to protect themselves. And believe me, they need to know as soon as possible. SimSimi is the latest threat, and it plays on teenagers and tweens' love of salacious and racy content. Now, this is an app which has become incredibly popular over the last while on app stores on both Android and on iPhone apps. The app is called SimSimi.
The Irish market, so it's, as you said, it's number one on the App Store, and then it's number two on the Android App Store. But basically, SimSimi is an AI, so like a chatbot. So similar to you'd have Siri on your iPhone that you can ask questions to, and you'll get a generated response. So SimSimi, it gives you responses that are actually created by other users. So a user can ask anything to the chatbot, and the SimSimi will respond. And these responses can range from something that's a helpful reply or an offensive comment. So that's where the difficulty is happening now through the app. So a user can teach SimSimi to respond with either a phrase or a vulgar comment, whatever it might be, when another phrase is entered. So the easiest way to think about this is that you can teach SimSimi to respond to someone's name or a brand or a school's name, whatever it might be, and then SimSimi will give you that response back.
Now, like I said, this is the number one app in the stores right now. Certainly on the, I have an iPhone here, and certainly on the Apple App Store, it is number one. But the worrying part about this is, and I for example, we taught SimSimi earlier on the name Adrian Kennedy. And when you type in Adrian Kennedy now, the expression brutal DJ comes up. Right?
Okay.
That's what we taught it. But it can be a lot more sinister than that, can't it?
Yeah, it certainly can. So, like, similarly to what you did teaching it, or the studio teaching it to respond in that way, you can teach it to associate to someone's name. So, for example, if you type Amy Schumer in, who's a comedian, you'll get a negative response, or a politician's name. People are associating these names in. So, and it's not necessarily about if the person it's about. So, for example, you, Adrian, if you type your own name in, you can see it, but anyone else who types your name in can also see that.
Can also see it, yes.
So it's a way for people to either spread rumours, share vicious comments, have either direct or indirect attempts to affect someone else.
So the worry is, if a child is being bullied, for example, somebody can teach this app something really nasty about this child.
Yeah, certainly. So, and the problem with that as well is that someone who's being directly picked on may not even see the comments that are about them. So it could be one pupil sharing it out to anyone else they know is using the app. So they're saying it about a fellow pupil or a fellow colleague in a workplace, and they've made this comment, and then anyone else can see it, or they can take a screenshot and post it on their social networks. Or there's a feature within the app that allows you to post it to a kind of message board, which will let anyone who uses the app see it.
Now, your worry about this, Liam, is how this can be used and abused for bullying children by other children.
So we found that 14% of post-primary school, or of primary school children, and 10% of secondary school children were being cyberbullied. And that was a research being conducted from 1997 to now. So that was looking at all the research on cyberbullying. And the problem with this was that as part of a separate study, we were finding that only 20% of parents were actually monitoring their child's social network usage. So this is where we need to be kind of proactive and intervening as much as we can. And we were finding this low rate of a parent being firstly aware of what social networking sites their children were using, and knowing what the apps, for example, like SimSimi, were for and how they were being used.
And as a matter of interest, what is, like I said, up until yesterday, I'd never even heard of this app until I saw it number one in the store yesterday. What is the upside of an app like this? Is there any advantage to this app?
Well, certainly people can be trying to have kind of positive interactions on the app. It's just because the app is there doesn't necessarily mean it's going to be sinister all the time. The way that I would approach this app in particular is that it's a mediator for the conversations we're having, and it's not necessarily designed with an intention to humiliate people. If you turn off, so when you first sign up for the app, you don't have to give them any identifiable information or anything like that. Every user can remain anonymous. You pick your language, and then you can either opt in or opt out of bad words appearing on the app. And when you do opt out of the bad words, you do see less negative content happening, but there are still insulting comments that can be there. So it's more about how the user is choosing to use the app. But certainly because of the amount of negative content that's on the app, it's going to be more difficult for people to have that positive outcome.
So if a parent is aware that their young child has this SimSimi app, I mean, to look at the app, it looks so childish and so child friendly, but I mean, the very first text we got in about this is an app for serious bullying. I asked my daughter to remove it from her phone. Other people are saying that apps like this should be removed from the app stores. They should be banned.
Well, certainly there are calls happening both by particularly Irish users on the App Store and on social media. So if you were to look at the tweets, for example, or the reviews on the App Store by people who've downloaded it. And there are a lot of messages where people have felt that they've either been targeted as either a pupil, a staff member in a school, or whoever it might be. And there are messages from both teens and parents who are concerned about the app. And that is purely because of the amount of negative content that we're seeing. So for example, that parent is being proactive and talking to their daughter about the app and asking them not to intervene with it, because in terms of cyberbullying and preventing it, a huge prevention method to not be victimized on the app is, of course, to not have it on their phone at all. So that would be one thing to focus on. What you are seeing, because of the anonymity of the app, is that when there is an ability for someone to be anonymous, they have this moral disengagement and feel that they can either do or say anything, associate a negative comment with someone's name, and there's no fear of reprisal happening there. There's no fear of the punishment that may happen, but there's no fear of kind of how they
so like we said, you can teach this app things like I've just taught this app. I typed in 98FM and I taught it, and when anybody types in 98FM, it says best radio station in Dublin. But I could have equally taught it something extremely nasty about somebody, and that every time that person's name is typed in, and I'm thinking of a child who's being picked on and being bullied, every time that child's name is typed in, nasty comments are associated with that child's name. Yeah, certainly. And you need to be aware of how these messages are being sent on the app. So similarly to what you did with the 98FM, saying it's the best radio station, I did yesterday was I was trying to provide a support method through the app. So I associated the word cyberbullying, and then when you type in cyberbullying to the app,
the information you are getting is if you're feeling affected, firstly, we tell them how they can report content on SimSimi now, and then we try and direct them towards tacklebullying.ie, which is the National Anti-Bullying website. So to provide parents or people who are affected with a bit more support.
Okay, so you've taught it in a good way.
Yeah, that's the attempt that we've had, but there are certainly some negative.
Oh, I see it. Sorry, I just typed it in now. If you feel cyberbullied, report the content and visit tacklebullying.ie, which is very good. Okay, certainly. So that's the reply that you get.
So what we need to be advising our teams at the moment is that firstly to discourage use of the app entirely if they can, and then if they do see content happening, they need to be able to firstly know how to report it on that app, and if there's something quite serious that's happening, to take a screenshot, go talk to a parent, go talk to a member of staff in their school if it relates to another pupil that they're in school with, and make sure that there's support being provided there.
All right, Liam, stay there for 1 second. 6797 981 is our telephone number. You can text or WhatsApp us on 0877 98 98 98. If you've come across this app, if you've seen it being used for bad reasons, I'd love to hear from you. This app is number 1 on the iTunes store right now, the Apple App Store. But it is very dangerous. It is facilitating the bullying of children. It's an app that allows you to teach it really bad things. Jason, you're saying that it's not as bad as people are making it out to be.
Well, first of all, I haven't downloaded the app, right? But
right.
I just remember an app years ago called Nimbus. I asked that fella, does he remember Nimbus?
Do you remember that app, Liam?
No, it's not something I've used.
Sorry?
I haven't used the app, no.
Yeah, it's like Nimbus. Have you haven't heard of Nimbus, no?
No, I haven't.
I haven't myself now, I have to be honest. But go on anyway, Jason.
Nimbus was a computer-generated response thing as well. And what it does is it learns. As you said, it's an AI, it's an artificial intelligence. And it learns what you tell it. But just in the same way that you said 98FM, you programmed it to say 98FM is the best radio station.
Yes.
Someone can come along 10 minutes later and change that anonymously.
Yes, I understand that, yeah.
So, I don't see, if someone feels, if someone types in their own name, why is someone going to be typing in their own name, first of all? And second of all, if they did type in their own name, now I could be wrong about this, but if they did type in their own name and they heard negative comments, they can change them straight away.
I know, that's easier said than done when you're talking about children.
Right, okay, yeah.
Yeah, see, the difficulty with that is that when you report something, particularly on SimSimi at the moment, it's taking time for that information to come down. And when something may go up in a single instance, or say you have another pupil in another class who's doing the same thing, or you have a group of people, it's when these things are either take time to be monitored and taken offline, or if they're screenshotted, sent out.
Okay, but you are worried. Yeah. You are worried about the potential dangers of bullying on this. Do me a favour, stay there for 1 second. I have to take a very quick break. Stephen, I'll be with you in a moment.
The show getting Dublin talking.
98FM's Dublin Talks.
Let me just take 1 or 2 calls on this. We're talking about an online app which is number 1 in the app stores at the minute, called SimSimi. And a lot of people reacting to this. Where am I going now? I'm going to Stephen. You're on 98FM. How are you, Stephen?
I'm good this morning, Adrian. How are you?
Good, thank you, Stephen. Do you think it's time for things to change? Meaning what?
Better regulation of what's going on online, Adrian. I think the governments in the world and the companies themselves need to take a long, good look at themselves before they make these apps. Like, the most vulnerable in society are at risk here.
And like I said, in the Apple App Store, this particular app is number 1 this week. That's actually how I came across it. When I noticed it number 1, I was like, oh, I wonder what that is. And then read into it and looked, found out about it. And it seems to be, on the surface, it's a perfectly harmless little app, but it can be...
In the wrong hands, it's going to be dangerous, Adrian.
Yes, yeah. I have to say, Simi is the artificial intelligence chatting robot. You can teach it good words, you can report bad words. Everybody be happy with SimSimi, it says. And then it says, when SimSimi says a bad word, just tap the speech bubble to report it. A bad word will be deleted. Also, you can turn on or off bad expressions in the settings. But here's
the problem with that, Adrian, is how many people see it before you get to erase it?
That's exactly the thing. That's exactly the problem. Here's just a couple of messages about it. A very bad app. My two nieces were showing me what it does. When they put in one of their names, it said things like fat bitch. My niece is only 13. Why can't something be done about this? And then Celine wrote, our primary school sent all parents a text warning of this SimSimi last week after a teacher heard a group of kids in 5th class sharing info in the yard. The principal had a meeting with classes to explain the dangers about social media and safety for kids so young. It is very, very worrying.
Well, I got one of them letters, Adrian, yesterday, and that's how I heard about it. Supposedly, one of the kids in the class got a thing up on it saying, you're fat and go kill yourself or something like that.
Yeah. Now, in fact, Susan, your daughter was mentioned on it.
Yeah, somebody in the school put her name on it, and it's somebody that knows her because they've given a lot of details about her, and then they start mentioning my name and slagging me off.
So as soon as you put in your daughter's name into, I assume you've reported that then, have you?
Oh, yeah. The school have got the message that somebody sent on my daughter's phone, and the police are involved. So the school is actually doing something about it.
Okay, well, that's good to hear. That is good to hear. And I know an awful lot of schools are very wide to this. They have sent out messages to parents to warn them of it. But we just wanted to give you a little warning. If you're a parent of a preteen or a young teenager, SimSimi is the name of this app. It can be quite dangerous. If you have a child that has this on their phone, at least make yourself aware of how it works. It only took me an hour or two to learn how the thing works. It's fairly straightforward. Make it your business to teach yourself about this particular app. I have 3 daughters, and my daughters told me that one of her daughters got her name on it, and they were calling her names and saying things about me. Oh, sorry, that was probably that lady there. All right, SimSimi is the name of the app. Be aware of it. This is 98FM's Dublin Talks.
This is 98FM's Dublin Talks with Adrian Kennedy. 98FM. This is 98FM's Dublin Talks with Adrian Kennedy.
Tuesday, March 28th, 2017. How are you today? I'm Adrian Kennedy, and this is 98FM's Dublin Talks. Here's a question for you, and I want you to be very honest about this. If you knocked down a dog, would you stop your car to make sure it was all right? And what do you think of people who don't stop? We received a message last night on our Facebook page, which, by the way, is facebook.com/Adrian K and Jeremy D. Facebook.com/Adrian K and Jeremy D. And this lady is very upset with something her partner did on his way to work yesterday. Here's what she wrote. Adrian, you need to bring up a topic, but please change my name. This morning, my boyfriend was on his way to work when he hit a dog who was out rambling around on the road. What I'm really upset about is the fact that my boyfriend didn't stop his car to help the dog. He doesn't believe he did anything wrong and is excusing what he did by saying the dog shouldn't have been out on the road and the dog could have caused an accident and killed a human. He was late for work too. Apparently, here's what she says. He also doesn't know if the dog died or not, but said he would be surprised if it didn't die as he hit it quite hard. I can't get the image out of my head and I'm so upset over it and the poor owners. I don't even want to speak to him right now. How could anyone just keep driving? And here's the question that we want to ask you. Is this guy at fault? Or is it the owner of that dog that's at fault for allowing that dog to wander out on the streets? 6797 981 is our telephone number. You can text or WhatsApp the programme on 0877 98 98 98. 0877 98 98 98. Now, I happened to mention in the office earlier on today that a couple of weeks back, driving home late at night, maybe 2 o'clock in the morning, I hit into a little bunny rabbit. He ran right out in front of the car and I gave him a right wallop, and I looked in my rear view mirror and he was gone. He was dead. But I didn't stop. I didn't get out to make sure he was dead or not. And a few people in the office were like, oh, Kennedy, that's disgusting. But I'm sure I'm not the only one who's done something like that. Run over a hedgehog and just kept going. Is it different, though, when it's a dog that you hit into? Was this driver right to keep driving, or should he have stopped? What would you have done? And have you ever been in this situation? And have you stopped? Because this guy argues that it's not his fault, it's not his responsibility, he didn't let the dog out, it's the owner's responsibility for letting the dog out in the first place to get a bang of a car. Call us right now on 6797 981. You can text or WhatsApp the programme on 0877 98 98 98. 0877 98 98 98. Now, as we speak, there's a very lively debate about this going on our Facebook page, which is facebook.com/Adrian K and Jeremy D. Facebook.com/Adrian K and Jeremy D. Sinead, you're on 98FM. Hi, Sinead.
How's it going, Adrian? How are you?
Sinead, you happen to believe that it is the owner that is at fault here?
Yeah, definitely. Definitely. The dog shouldn't have been out. If the dog wasn't out, he wouldn't have got hit.
No, and that's undoubtedly true. But
and what about the damage to your man's car? Like, who's going to pay for that?
I believe there was damage to your man's car. Mind you, he's no hope of getting any money for that damage because he didn't stop.
No. He's nothing. And if he'd have stopped, he'd end up paying the vet bill as well as paying for his own car.
So you think he was right to keep going?
I think he was right to keep going. I have a dog. I wouldn't let it out on the road.
Because you're a responsible dog owner?
Yeah, it should be out in the lead. There's a law against letting your dogs roam wild anyway. Like.
No, I know there is, yeah. And the law is quite strict. You are meant to have, if a dog is in a public place, he's meant to be on a lead. But dogs get out. Dogs ramble.
Yeah, but they shouldn't be out on the road. You should be looking after them. You should be locked in if they're not. My dog's in at night time, so it wouldn't be out on the road. It wouldn't be out on the road in the daytime because it's made sure it's in the back garden, like.
Now, the instant reaction from a lot of people was, oh my God, what a horrible person. He could have helped that dog. But you're saying, sure, why would he stop? He shouldn't have been out in the first place. And sure, if he did stop, he could end up paying the vet bills.
Yeah, exactly. And he has to pay for the damage to his car and the abuse he get off the person who owns the dog.
And he would get a fair bit of abuse, I would think. Yeah. But you firmly believe it is the dog owners that are at fault here?
Yeah, definitely. Definitely.
Not this guy for not stopping?
No, he should have carried on. He's right what he did.
Okay, stay there for a second, Sinead. He should have carried on. Which is what he did. Although his girlfriend is deeply upset with him, as you heard from the message. Let me read this message. That fella is a dirtbag for not stopping after hitting the dog. Human or dog or cat, what is the difference? I hit a fox and I was devastated. I didn't care about the damage done to my car. I've often seen animals being hit by a car and the driver hasn't stopped yet. I have stopped, says that person. Sinead said, no, your man was right not to stop. You'd get a big vet bill, you'd get dogs abuse from the owner. It's just not worth it, just keep going. And I'd love to know how you feel about hitting other animals. Like I said, I put my hands up and admit that I ran over a bunny rabbit a couple of weeks ago. At 2 o'clock in the morning, he ran right out in front of the car. He got a right wallop of the car. And I looked in my rear view mirror and he was dead. Or at least he wasn't moving. I didn't stop the car and go back and check. Am I a heartless git as well? Where am I going? Dean, you're on 98FM. Hi, Dean.
All right, bud.
Now, Dean, what do you want to say?
No, I just stopped for the dog. Not a problem, like, but it is the owner, and it's not really the driver's fault. Obviously, the dog shouldn't be in there, you know what I mean? But
so
it's human decency to stop, you know what I mean? Because it's a doggy.
Okay.
You know, some people have a heart, some people don't. But
and you're a person who does have a heart, do you?
But yeah, you could say that, but like, it's not for a dog. They're more decent than most humans, you know.
But you've heard what Sinead said. There's a risk that he'd get dog's abuse, excuse the pun, off the owner of the dog. He would be, he might have to pay a big vet bill if the dog survived, and he just wasn't prepared to go through that. And he was late for work.
That's only a possibility, you know. That may not happen, you know. it may have happened to someone she knows, but that's not like. A few years ago, a friend of mine knocked over my cousin's dog, and we didn't know who knocked down the dog. And then we just put up, a Facebook stand saying scumbag drove off. But we actually found out about half an hour later, because I put up the status, and he messaged me on Facebook saying, Shaky, I'm at to stop for that dog. I had to stop. It was with one of our granddad's neighbours. I was in a rush, I had to go to the hospital. And we found out, and it was all grand, no hospital bill. Now, the dog didn't survive, but there was no bills. It was the decency of that, you know what I mean? That's why I would stop.
Okay, so let me read this message from Brian. He says, why should he stop? He doesn't have to. Yes, it's the owner's responsibility to keep the dog under control. Letting the dog out by itself is the irresponsible bit. The owner must make sure that the garden is more secure. If that lad swerved and killed a child or wiped out a family, they're not replaceable. A dog is. And that's the risk that you take, swerving out of a dog's way. You could cause mayhem. Timmy, you're on 98 FM. How are you, Timmy?
Good morning, Adrian.
Good morning, Timmy. How are you?
Grand.
No.
I was in this situation a couple of years ago, Adrian. I was flying to work, and it was at night time, yeah? Well, the early hours of the morning. I was going through this place. I ploughed the dog over. Had a look at him. He was halfway there. Got back into the car, ran back over him, and flew to work. Because I knew, he was dead the second time.
Okay, you knew he wasn't going to survive.
I knew he wasn't going, and it was 2 o'clock in the morning. There was nothing I could do.
Well, believe it or not, I had a very, very similar story myself. Now, many years ago, I was driving through the countryside in Wales late at night, trying to catch the ferry in Wales to get home, yeah? Mm-hmm. And I ran over a fox. And again, like that, I pulled the car in, went back to have a look at the fox. He was in bits. All of his legs were broken. He was in bits. And I went to try and move him off the road, and he growled and started snapping at me. So there's no way I was going near him. So I did exactly that. I reversed over him and killed him.
Yeah.
Now,
well, that's what I done now.
I've told that story to many people since, and they go ballistic.
Yeah, my wife called me a heartless bastard, but I mean, what could I do?
Now, I do feel the same way. I like I said, I was rushing for a ferry, couldn't afford to be spending an hour at the side of the road waiting for a vet to come, when I knew anyway this fox was going to die. He was in bits.
Same as well. I knew the doggy was going to die, so he was going to doggy heaven.
So, do you think that we did? You obviously think we did the right thing.
I know I did the right thing. You know what I mean? It was out plough the dog over, or plough along on a car that was coming head on towards me. So I ploughed the dog over.
And you've been called a heartless bastard about that, but would you do the same thing again?
Of course I would. And I'm happy. Yeah.
This guy who he didn't stop at all. His excuses were the dog shouldn't have been out on the road. The dog could have caused an accident and killed a human. I don't see why I should have to stop.
Well, I would have stopped just to make sure that he was dead. To be honest with you, or if he wasn't dead, I'd have done what I'd done the last time.
And that's what happened. He wasn't dead, but you put him out of his misery, basically.
Oh, I put him out of his misery. Second time.
Okay, stay there for 1 second, Timmy, because I know an awful lot of people listening right now are going to say you're a disgusting, horrible man. And possibly me as well, for maybe people don't feel as bad about a fox. Yeah, no, but I'm being honest as well. It was a fox in my case on a dark country road in the middle of nowhere in Wales, and I had about an hour and a half to get to my ferry. I didn't know, I didn't want to be late, obviously, and I certainly wasn't standing at the side of the road waiting for the vet to come. I wouldn't have even known where to tell the vet to come to. It was long before the days of sat-nav.
The middle of Wales.
Yeah, the middle of Wales, exactly. Stay there for a second, Timmy. Alan, you're on 98 FM. How are you, Alan?
How you doing? How's things?
Alan, you believe that this guy should have stopped?
Absolutely. It's only a humane thing to do. I think the interesting thing that you said, Adrian, at the start is, one, the guy was late for work, so obviously he was rushing. And two, where was it when it happened? What was the speed limit? I guarantee he wasn't keeping under a speed limit. And, the force scale that was on, completely agree with her. If someone is a pet owner, they're obliged to look after a dog, make sure our dog's locked up.
And that was this guy's argument. He said the dog shouldn't have been on the road.
No, but also you got to take into consideration as well that there's hundreds of strays out there. So, if the stray out there, and you run over the dog, like, that last chap that was on, like, what he did, reverse over the dog. No, it's a circumstance thing. He seen that the dog was in so much trouble that the most humane thing probably was to put the dog out of his misery. That chap had to stop and seen that the dog was in a no-win situation. It may have been a humane thing to do. But instead, he just drove off, left the dog there to suffer.
So that dog could have actually. Timmy, he makes a good point. In the case you've told us, and in the case that I was giving, we both actually stopped to see what state the animal was in.
I had to stop. You know what I mean? I know. I did feel a bit because when my wife did call me a heartless bastard, it did hurt me, you know. But I said I stopped, and she said you ran over it again. That's the name she called him. But I was trying to explain to her that I only just put him out of his misery. I wasn't leaving there in the height of pain all night, you know.
And I
come around now after a while.
And that's identical to the story that I had with the fox. I felt I was doing the right thing. Was that the right thing to do, Alan, to run the fox over again?
Yeah, like in your circumstance, Adrian, like you're in the middle of nowhere. Like the chances of the dog probably being saved was slim to none. So what's the alternative? Let the poor thing suffer or take it out of its misery?
And like I said, he was suffering because I did get out of the car. I did try and move him over to the side of the road, and he growled and snarled at me and tried to bite me. So there's no way I was going near him.
You couldn't.
But I also knew he was never going to get up and run away again. He was knackered. He was gone. And I ran over him again.
Yeah, well, you know, you probably done the fox a favour in the long run. As bad as it is, as bad as it sounds, you know, it's you couldn't leave the thing there suffering.
That was about 25 years ago, and to this day I can't get the story out of my head. And as I'm telling the story, I can visualise myself on that road in the middle of Wales. But I still maintain I did the dog a favour, or the fox a favour. And I know Timmy,
you did as well.
Timmy, you feel the same way.
100%, Adrian. But it's still on my mind to this day. You know, about the dog. Believe it or not.
All right, stay there for 1 second. 6797 981 is our telephone number. You can text or WhatsApp the programme 0877 98 98 98. 0877 98 98 98. I want you to have a listen to this again. This is from one of our listeners sent on our Facebook page, facebook.com/Adrian K and Jeremy D. I need you to bring up a topic, but please change my name. This morning, my boyfriend was on his way to work when he hit a dog who was out rambling around on the road. What I'm really upset about is the fact that my boyfriend didn't stop his car to help the dog. He doesn't believe he did anything wrong and is excusing what he did by saying the dog shouldn't have been out on the road and the dog could have caused an accident and killed a human. He was late for work too. He also doesn't know if the dog died or not, but said he will be surprised if it didn't die as he hit him quite hard. I can't get the image out of my head, and I'm so upset over it and the poor owners. I don't even want to speak to him right now. How could anyone keep on driving? And that's really what's bothering her. Where am I going now? I'm going to Vanessa. You're on 98FM. How are you, Vanessa?
Hiya, how are you?
Good, thanks, Vanessa. What did you want to say on this?
I hit a rabbit last year. It was New Year's Eve. I was actually in my husband's car. The rabbit just flew out. I had absolutely no chance to stop it, and I hit it.
Same happened to me only a month ago, yeah.
And I've had a few near misses with rabbits, and it shook me up a bit, but I hit this one, and I stopped in the middle of the road. I looked behind me, there was no cars coming. It was New Year's Eve, there was no traffic on the road. I reversed back up the road to see if he was... I could see he was dead, but I just needed to make sure, and I pulled into the side. I got out of the car, went over, he was dead, and I went to the boot of the car, but I was in my husband's car, so there was no bags in the boot. I was getting a bag to pick him up.
And what were you going to do with him?
I was going to even just leave him at the side of the road, or there was bushes, I was going to put him in the bush, or I was sobbing. I rang my husband, and actually, because I was sobbing so much, and all he heard was, I hit, he thought I was after knocking someone down. So I was so bad, I was so upset. And he's like, it's a rabbit, just leave it. He said, you can't pick it up, it's probably diseased. I said, I can't leave it here. I said, I'll kick it over with my foot, I'll move it over with my foot. And he said, you can't, you'll have to throw your runners and all out. He said, you can't just leave it. And I sat at the side of the road for a good 10 minutes. I'm not joking you.
And what did you do in the end then?
I had to leave it. And every time I drive up, I keep looking at that spot and I'm like, oh God. I see rabbits or cats at the side of the road every day, and I'm always saying, how in the name of God could someone hit a dog or a cat and leave it. I pick a dog or a cat up with my bare hands if I hit it. There's no way I'd leave it beside
And
the road.
what did you make of Timmy's story and my story with the fox? That I knew that fox and Timmy knew that dog wasn't going to survive, so he ran over it again.
Oh, well, no, that's just... I can't do that. I can't even think about that. I mean, hitting it accidentally.
Okay, so say
doing it again.
Say the little bunny rabbit. Say he was lying on the ground. Now you say he was dead, but had he been like wriggling in pain on the ground, what would you have done then?
I probably would have called a vet. I would have done something. There's no way. I know it's a rabbit, and I know people say it's only a rabbit, just leave it. There's no way.
Because I have to be honest, I hit a rabbit a couple of weeks ago. Looked in my rear view mirror, saw that he wasn't moving, and I just kept going.
Oh no. No, I just couldn't. I mean, I hit that rabbit accidentally. There's no chance in hell I could say, oh, well, do you know what? I'll reverse over him just to make sure he's dead. There's no way. I'd have to do something. Whether I did eventually pick it up with my bare hands or not, I don't know. But I would have done something if he wasn't dead. I'd never live with myself.
But what would you have done, realistically, Vanessa? If he was still breathing, but you could see he wasn't getting up and running away, what would you have done? Paid a huge vet bill for a vet to come out and put him down anyway?
I don't know. I probably would have got maybe my husband to drive up, and he might have been able to do it. He might have been able to run over. I actually don't know. I don't think I could have left it. I really don't. Whether it would cost me money to get a vet out for a wild rabbit, I don't know. But I'm actually glad he was dead, because I didn't have to leave him in pain. But I couldn't stop thinking about it, and I still can't stop thinking about it. And I know that was only a rabbit. If it was a dog, no, you may forget about it. There's not.
But it just shows you it's different strokes for different folks.
Well,
I hit that rabbit a couple of weeks ago, and I forgot all about it until we had this conversation today, because I just kept on going. Now, if it were a dog, I think I would most likely have stopped. But a rabbit... A wild rabbit, I did keep going. Stay there for 1 second. I want to take a very quick break. Robert, I'll be with you straight after the break. Will you hang on there for a second? Good man. Thanks very much indeed. And Timmy, I'll come back to you as well. 6797 981 is our telephone number. You can text or WhatsApp the programme 0877 98 98 98. 0877 98 98 98. Should you stop? Should I have stopped for that rabbit like that lady did? Should I have gotten out of my car at 2 o'clock in the morning and gone to see if the rabbit was okay? And what about a dog? This is where this conversation comes from. This lady who contacted us on Facebook, basically, her boyfriend hit a dog, but he kept going. Call me right now on 6797 981.
The voice of the city.
98FM's Dublin Talks.
Morning Dublin, Tuesday morning. This is Adrian Kennedy. This is 98FM's Dublin Talks. Huge reaction to what we're talking about. My God. This is a message that we got on our Facebook page from one of our listeners, and she says, I need you to bring up this topic. This morning my boyfriend was on his way to work when he hit a dog who was out rambling around the road. What I'm really upset about is the fact that my boyfriend didn't stop his car to help the dog. He doesn't believe he did anything wrong and is excusing what he did by saying the dog shouldn't have been out on the road and the dog could have caused an accident and killed a human. He also doesn't know if the dog died or not, but said he would be surprised if it didn't die as he hit it quite hard. I can't get the image out of my head and I'm still so upset over it and the poor owners. I don't even want to speak to him right now. How could anyone just keep driving? And that's what we're talking about. No, a lot of people are saying it's the owner's fault. The owner should not have allowed this dog to freely roam out onto the road. Claire, you're on 98FM. How are you, Claire?
Hey.
Good, Claire. What did you want to say?
That's just disgraceful. And then just what you were saying now about I won't be surprised if he isn't dead now by how hard I hit him. It's just like basically another person who don't care about animals. Another rude person who don't care about dogs or nothing like that. He should at least stop the car, ring the guards and let him know. It's the law. He has to, it's disgraceful. and she's every right to be angry.
But the dog shouldn't have been out in the first place.
Yeah, he shouldn't have been out. Like, you can't say that, you know what I mean? But come on,
But no, you can say that. If the dog, hang on,
if they're going to ramble out, whether he escaped, whether he's a stray dog, dogs are going to ramble around. Some are streetwise, some are. You know, you can't blame the dog. You know, you can't blame him for being rude, not stopping and doing something for that poor animal. It's just yet another case of people not caring about dogs. And it's disgraceful. It really, really is. Like, he should be ashamed of himself.
But is it not the owner that should be ashamed of themselves?
He could be lying there dying on the ground and he doesn't even care. Like the dog could have had a bit of life left in him. Like, come on.
And what did you think of Timmy, who ran over the dog again?
I wasn't listening to that part. I was literally just seeing it on Facebook, reading the Facebook comments.
Okay, so Timmy is on the show here. He's on the other line, and he ran over a dog. He did stop. He did go back. He did see that the dog was knackered, and he ran over it again.
Oh, do you know, like, it's just like, I don't know whether it's because I'm a woman or I'm a big animal lover or anything like that, but like, they're just heartless. Leave it outside a vet.
Timmy, what do you say to that? You're heartless.
Call the guard. Look, I'm
not heartless. I'm an animal lover as well, Adrian. I've 2 dogs myself.
So you just drove over him again to put him out of his misery? Would you like someone to do that to your dog? Look, me and mate Jimmy, I just drove over him again just to make sure the job was done.
Yeah, I'd appreciate it, instead of the dog lying there in the height of pain.
No, like, it happened to my Shih Tzu. I had him for like 13 years, and yet again, I know I'm going to get like, I shouldn't have been on the road. I've a little small estate. Everyone knew my dog. He was always, he'd do his little morning run. He'd go out, do his walk. He was literally crossing a road. He wasn't doing nothing wrong. The neighbour told me he was just crossing the road. A car spun in, and it was over.
Well, he obviously didn't know.
And the guy didn't stop again, but I was in tears, went and got my dog. He's actually like, you probably don't care if you laugh. I'm an animal lover. I went and got him cremated, €200. He's in a little box, do you know what I mean? I look after my animals. That's what you do, do you know what I mean? You don't just leave it to die on the road, like.
I didn't leave him to die. I ran over him again.
Yeah. Is that funny or something?
No, I just had to explain to you what happened.
But why didn't you just bring him to it, like, bring him to a vet?
2 o'clock in the bleeding morning.
A vet? Come on,
2 o'clock in the morning.
Hang on,
how could you bring yourself to do that?
Hang on, it was 2 o'clock in the morning, Claire. What was he to do?
To drive over him again? Who has it in their heart to do that? Would you not, like, jump out your seat when you force knocked them over? It's just a joke. Like, I just think it really is.
You would have been listening to what I was saying. You have to tune in at 10 o'clock.
I'm sorry, Jimmy. That's just a shock of what you just said. You drove over the second time. I wasn't listening to the show. No, I was just reading comments on the Facebook page.
You see, I don't know what else he could do, and I gave an example of how a similar thing happened to me with a wild fox.
Or even ring a guard and say, look, he's suffering, he's probably not going to make it, you know, I have to go home, it's 2 in the morning, drive over him again. Come on, like, how do you have the balls to do that? Like, how, I don't know how anyone could do that.
There are people, Claire, that think that that's such a waste of guard time to be calling the guards to tell them there's a dead dog on the road.
No, there's on-call vets. There's people out there that do care about animals, that do have fans, that do walk around in the hours of the night and look after animals. There should be more of it, but there is the places that do it. You know, I had it years ago as well. My other German Shepherd was dying in the middle of one night, straight down to the place in Rathmines there. He's open all hours, 24 hours of the night. You know, there is places, like, it's called Google, like, or like, there is places open, like.
So what did you want me to do? Google where the nearest vet was, bring him to a vet.
You should have ran over him the second time, end of. Like, you should either.
But I knew he was going to die anyway.
Hey, Claire, you're not listening to what he's saying.
He stopped. At least I did stop, but look, I left him there to die. That wouldn't have been as bad, but you ran over him again. No, I don't agree with that.
You had to put him out of his pain. Not to throw over it. To put the poor fucker out of, sorry, Adrian, put him out of his misery.
That's just a bloke's way of doing it. Bring him to a vet and get him put out of his misery.
All right, stay there for 1 second. 6797 981 is our telephone number. You can text or WhatsApp us 0877 98 98 98. 0877 98 98 98. Connor, you're on 98 FM. How are you, Connor?
Hello, Adrian. How are you?
Good, thanks, Connor. What did you want to say on this?
I feel sad of people's lack of compassion, to be honest, because cow, pig, squirrel, fox, dog, cat, they're all different, just different species. They're all animals, you know. and no animal is more superior, including humans, than the other.
And do you think?
And I think it was an absolute disgrace and sick that he went to go over to put out his misery. Sure, how many times is he going to go over the dog? How he doesn't know, especially at night time.
Timmy, how many times did it take you to kill the dog? Just the once?
Getting more cruel as it goes along.
The once, yeah. Second time I hit him out, and that was it. He was gone.
Now, Connor,
you can't even tell it's dark. How can you tell?
Oh, would you go away, you tick?
Oh, here we go. The insults are coming out now. The insults are coming out now.
No, I'm just telling you. I'm trying to explain to you.
I can't be tick if I'm talking common sense.
You see, Connor...
Where's your compassion?
Hang on, hang on.
The compassion is that I put the dog out of his misery. That's my compassion.
Oh, you haven't a clue.
Connor, this guy hit a dog. He didn't intend to hit the dog.
Of course,
he accidentally ran into the dog.
Yeah.
The dog is on the ground. He's in bits. He's not gonna make it, but he's in extreme pain lying on the ground.
Sure, yeah.
Timmy decides to put the dog out of its misery by running over it again.
Rather than make a civil attempt, maybe bring it home and do what he can overnight.
Oh, Jesus, will you go away?
No, think about it. Why not? If you got compassion, you do that. I would.
Adrian, he was that bad, you know what I mean? I can't even talk to that tick. He was that bad, Adrian, you know yourself. He wasn't going to make it.
And Connor, I gave an example of an almost identical story of something that happened to me in Wales, in the middle of nowhere. I didn't know where I was, hit into a fox. I pulled the car in, I went back, saw that the fox, all his legs were broken, he was in bits, he was never going to last, and I did the same thing. I ran over him again. What should I have done?
Well, vets can come out and call Adrian, and you could get a guy come out.
I'm going to tell you that this was back in the late 80s, so I didn't even have a mobile phone. I couldn't ring anybody. So rather than just leave...
There's always an option, Adrian.
I was running for a ferry. I didn't really...
Oh, you're running for a ferry, and yet the dog was half dead. You know what I mean?
The dog was half
dead. You could always get your ferry an hour later, maybe.
No, there was no ferry until the next day.
Well, I would have been more thoughtful for the dog's life.
I went over to this fox.
Or fox, whichever.
I tried to move him off the road, and half dead, and he went for me. Okay, but he was never going to get up.
That's nature for you.
Yeah, I understand that, but
yeah,
I couldn't ring anybody. I didn't know where I was. I thought I did the right thing by running over the fox again.
By running over the fox again, do you think that's the right thing? That's not exactly humane, is it?
Yeah, I happen to think it was. Yeah.
Killing animals isn't humane.
Well, hang on there for 1 second, because Declan, you're on 98 FM. How are you, Declan?
How's it going, Adrian?
Good, thanks, Declan. You're getting annoyed about this. Why?
Yeah, they're only dogs, Adrian. Come here. About 2 years ago, I ran over a dog as well. I think he died, but it's a dog. It wasn't like I hit a human.
Here we go. Here's the speciesism coming out now.
Yeah, I'm not depressed over Adrian, And he was a big dog, the one I ran over, he had attacked a little girl before. So, he was a dangerous dog, and your man never had him on a leash or anything,
So you're blaming the dog owner as well?
Yeah, of course it is, yeah. And they're only dogs, they're not humans. Do you know what I mean? I got over it.
I know.
I'll tell you something.
I know Connor will say they are sentient beings.
Well, they are. Of course they feel pain. We're no different to animals.
We're completely different from animals.
No, we're not. We're just different species.
We know who we are. Adrian knows he's Adrian Kennedy.
All animals are aware.
A dog doesn't know it's a dog.
All animals are aware and feel pain and feel joy, just like humans.
A dog doesn't know it's a dog. Adrian knows.
A dog knows what. Each species know its own individuals.
It doesn't know what it is. It's not aware of itself.
Animals are aware, yes.
Yeah, but they're not aware of themselves. The good.
How do you know that? All species are aware of themselves.
Yeah, but a dog doesn't know that it's a dog. Do you know what I mean? A human knows it's a human.
How do you know a dog doesn't know it's a dog?
Because science.
You really studied it, have you?
Sorry?
You really studied that, have you?
Well, science says that. We're not.
Oh, where does science say that a dog doesn't know it's a dog?
I've read it before. We're not to the same degree. It's not to the same degree. Of
all species have their own intelligence.
Yeah, all right, but look, they're dogs anyway. I don't know what you're getting so uppity over it, Come here, Adrian. Will you run over that rabbit, Adrian? Will you just over it? Will you cry your eyes out?
We're just a different species.
No, I wasn't crying my eyes out. Okay, Connor, I gave another example of a story from 2 weeks, a month ago. Late at night, coming home after working, and I ran over a rabbit. Looked in my rear view mirror, saw the rabbit was still lying on the road. He wasn't going anywhere, and I just headed on home.
Well, that was cruel.
What should I have done?
You should have thought and show some compassion for it, you know what I mean?
I know,
I was... Where are we going? I mean, this is going to go on forever, Adrian. What do you want me to say?
I'm wondering where the line is drawn. If I drive over a snail, should I be upset?
Well, I'd be pretty pissed off if I stood in a snail.
Okay, stay there for 1 second. I have to take a very quick break. Our telephone number is 6797 981. You can text or WhatsApp the programme 0877 98 98 98. 0877 98 98 98. I'll take another couple of your calls in just a moment.
If it's happening in Dublin, we're on it.
98 FM's Dublin Talks.
There's murder going on over murder, I suppose. Well, it's not intentional murder, manslaughter maybe. Running over a dog or a cat or a bunny rabbit, and what you should do when such an incident occurs. Now, I've told you 2 stories that have happened to me over the years. One, I ran over the fox again. The other, just a couple of weeks back, I hit a rabbit, but I didn't stop because I looked in my rear view mirror and the poor old rabbit was gone. Robbie, you're on 98 FM. How are you, Robbie?
How you doing?
Good, Robbie.
As far as I know, if you hit a dog has a licence. So if you hit a dog, you're legally bound to report it to the police, but not with a cat or anything that don't have licences. Whereas with a fox, I think years and years ago, because there were pests in the countryside, if you brought the fox's tail to the garda shop, they used to give you a fiver.
Really?
Yeah, because they were pests and they were rampant in the countryside, causing mayhem. So if you hit one and you brought the tail to the garda shop, you got a fiver. But with the dogs, you're legally bound to report a dog because they have a licence. Now, it might be the owner's fault for letting the dog out in the street and that, but you're legally bound to stop and legally bound to report it.
You're legally bound to stop and legally bound to report it?
Yeah, a dog has a licence.
Okay, but if a dog has a licence, which, yes, well, they're meant to have, they don't all have, but a dog is meant to have a licence. Yeah. Surely then it is the owner's responsibility to make sure that dog doesn't get out in public.
Yeah, I'd agree with that. It is their responsibility, but it's also the driver's responsibility to report hitting a dog. It has a licence, it's registered to somebody. You can't just go around wiping out dogs willy-nilly, and get away with it.
Nobody's talking about wiping out dogs willy-nilly.
No, but like, if you hit a dog, you have to wipe it out. You're legally bound to report that dog because it has a
Now, Timmy, this dog that you ran over again, did you report it to anybody? Did you...
My wife.
Your wife, yeah. Not to the owner.
No. I couldn't find the owner, Adrian. You know what I mean?
That's a good point as well.
I mean, if you hit a dog, Robbie, in the middle of nowhere, how are you meant to know? What do you do? Knock on everybody's door at 2 o'clock in the morning?
Well, I just reported to the local police station in the area that you've knocked the dog down, so the owner knows. The owner's not left there looking for his dog for the next 4 months, sticking pictures up on Facebook and all that. You let the owner know that the dog is dead. It's a decent thing to do, isn't it?
All right, stay there for a second. Kathleen, why are you disgusted?
Adrian,
yes, Kathleen.
It is Adrian.
That's me,
Adrian,
yes.
If I could put my hands around your throat this morning, I would. Now, I'm an animal lover. I'm attached to Animal Foundation in Kildare Town, and but also I thought a horrible thing to not stop your car, go back and look and see. That rabbit could have been just in shock. Maybe he got up and ran away. You'll never know. I'll never know. But however, one morning when I was doing children's school, this dog ran out in front of my car and I hit the dog. There was nothing I could have done. I was going around the corner and he just was there. When he got up and ran away, when I was on my way back, the dog was lying at the side of the road.
Okay.
I picked up the dog. There was neighbours going by. They told me who owned the dog. Picked him up. His back passage fell out on my clothes, but I still brought him up to the owner. We got the vet. There was nothing we could do about the dog. In the meantime, my clothes was destroyed. The car was destroyed. I had to for my clothes, cleaned the car and the whole lot. But I felt satisfaction, at least I had seen to the dog.
And fair play to you, Kathleen. So are you saying to me that at 2 o'clock in the morning I should have attended to the rabbit?
Yes, you should have. Yes. If you feel any sympathetic, if you're an animal, you don't have to be an animal lover.
No, but as it happens, I am an animal lover. I have a dog. I'd be very upset if my dog...
Yeah, so you're great. You have a dog.
Yeah, but I'd be
so
very
upset.
And I'd be very
over
upset.
Your dog, you're just going to say, oh, leave him at the side of the road, run over him twice, make sure he's dead, and that's okay.
But Kathleen, if you ran over my dog, I would blame myself. Because my dog should not be out on the road for you to run over.
Yes, but Adrian, it's very easy to be on the radio and say you would have blamed yourself.
I'm telling you I would.
I listen to your programme. I'm in Kildare Town. I listen to your programme every morning. Wouldn't miss it. Love the arguments that goes on. But this is the first morning I just felt I had to phone.
But, okay, Kathleen, here's the bottom line. With a dog, if you ran over my dog, I would blame myself because my dog should not be out on the road. It's as simple as that.
But, Adrian, all dogs, they sneak out. They all do. I have rescue cats here, and they go out my front gate. We have a wide green in the area where I live, and they're out on the green. They're chasing the birds and the whole lot. And they come back in. But if someone ran over one of them cats, I would definitely be out on the road creating murder with the driver of the car. Now, when you hit, I should say that rabbit or wherever you hit.
Yeah, a rabbit at 2 o'clock in the morning.
Yeah, at 2 o'clock in the morning. Right. How fast were you going?
Yeah, the speed limit. If not a bit slower, actually.
No, Adrian, I think we leave it at that now. I'm in the middle of making a rube of an apple crumble, and as I say, I never get mad if I stay on the phone because I'm so incensed over people. What, animals don't feel pain? That other caller that you had on, and he was saying, right, run over them and put them out of their pain.
Oh, okay.
Animals do feel pain.
Okay, what do you think of Timmy and me, who also ran over dogs again to put them out of their misery? I ran over a fox.
He ran around his throat. I would. I thought that was the most horrible thing I've ever heard.
Timmy, this woman in Kildare is on the rampage. If she could get her hands around either of our throats, we'd be goners.
Well, I didn't get any dinner for nearly 6 months.
I'd love to hear them.
Sorry, Timmy, say that again. Your missus didn't give you dinner for nearly 6 months.
6 months I didn't get a bit of dinner for it, over the dog. I shouldn't have mentioned that to her. It was the worst mistake I ever did. I got no dinner or nothing.
I'm delighted.
But I get a bit of apple crumble if I go down to Kildare.
You definitely didn't deserve any dinner. And if you had been in my house, you wouldn't have got dinner for a year. Never mind 6 months. Such a terrible thing to go and do, to go back and run over the animal, to put him out of his pain. So why didn't you put him in the back of your car, wrap him in a rug? Right? So it's in the early hours of the morning. You could have brought him to the vet the following morning and seen to the dog, got him humanely put down. But no, you decided, right, cheap trick to do it here. And run over him. Lovely. Great people out there. No wonder Andy Kenny is the way he is when he's people like you voting for him. Now, I'll leave you with that.
Okay, we leave it at that then. Good morning, Kathleen. Good morning. Kathleen might agree with this message that just come in. Adrian, you're a serial killer and a monster. I always knew there was something sinister about you, and you finally revealed yourself. You scumbag. You're a terrible, horrible person, and I wouldn't let you live near an animal for fear of what sick things you might do to it. You're absolute filth, and I will never listen to your show again, says that person. Another message says, Adrian, you could have moved the rabbit to the side of the road. Dogs run out. You should know that, says Donna. By the way, it's the law that you report it to the police. What, running over a rabbit? Or is it running over a dog? I can just imagine the conversation if I were to ring my local Garda station at 2 o'clock in the morning when there's hell to pay in pubs and fights breaking out on the streets and the guards are up to their eyes at 2 o'clock on a Saturday night, Sunday morning, and then I ring, hello guard, I ran over a rabbit. I should imagine the guard at the other end of the phone would just laugh. Jimmy, you're on 98 FM. How are you, Jimmy?
Good morning.
Good morning, Jimmy. How are you?
Not too bad.
What do you want to say?
As far as I know, the law states that you have to report that you hit a dog, but no other animal.
And report it to who? To the guards?
To the guards. Now, if you're caught hitting a dog, if you're seen hitting a dog and drive away, you can be reported and charged for not stopping.
What, for a hit and run?
I don't know what the charge is, but you're charged for not stopping for hitting a dog. Now, the other side of that law is you're not supposed to stop for a dog.
Yes,
you're supposed to plough over him and then stop.
You see, because I would have thought that it is much more dangerous to swerve out of the way of a dog that runs out on the road in front of you. You risk driving yourself into a tree, driving yourself into other pedestrians who might be walking. So you're saying that you're meant to hit the dog.
You're meant to plough over him and just keep going. Stop after you get by him.
And report it then?
And report it then. Now, that's coming from a person who has actually hit a dog and has a dog killed by a car. And them ladies
and okay, when you
get out. My dog was let out. Somebody broke into the backyard and let it get out. I didn't even know he was gone dead.
You see, like I said, if my dog got a bang of a car outside our house, I would blame nobody but myself, because he shouldn't have been on the road.
The dog, I don't blame the man that hit my dog. I wasn't his fault the dog ran out. But somebody broke into the garden, left the side gate open, let the dog out.
Now, a couple of moments ago, Kathleen in Kildare said she wasn't. She was in the middle of making apple crumble, and she was too upset because of what I did with the rabbit. Mary, what happened when you hit a rabbit? Hello, Mary. Oh, sorry. Oh, Mary's pressing buttons on her phone there. Hello, Mary. No, don't know what's going on with Mary here. Hang on there for 1 second. We've got a 10-second delay on the show. Mary, are you there?
Yeah.
Yep. Hello?
Yeah, hello?
Oh, Katie, can you ring Mary back there if you wouldn't mind and tell her to actually speak into the telephone, if that's possible? Emma, you're on 98 FM. Hi, Emma.
Good morning, Adrian. How are you?
Good morning, Emma. How are you?
Grand, until I listen to your show.
Oh. Oh.
I just think, why didn't that gobshite ring the DSPCA that he'd knocked over a dog? Or the police?
This is Timmy.
No, the other one that his girlfriend's not speaking to him.
Oh, sorry. That's a good question. He just kept on driving.
Look after injured animals. So why weren't they rang? And why would anyone do that? I can see why there's so much animal cruelty in this country when you hear people that, like what you have on your show this morning.
And when you hear somebody who ran over a dog, knew the dog was going to die, and rather than...
Well, is Timmy a vet? How the hell did Timmy know the dog was going to die?
Timmy, are you a vet?
No, I'm not a vet.
Well, Timmy, if you're not a vet, you made that judgment to kill the dog. You actually murdered the dog. And you would have been thrown out of my house. You wouldn't have lived. You wouldn't be living there now.
Well, I'm not living with you, am I?
No, thank God. I wouldn't have somebody so cruel around my children, because you're just like... to go. Actually...
How am I cruel?
You actually drove back over that dog.
Because his head was hanging off. What did you want me to do? It was 2 o'clock in the morning.
Oh, God. UCD have an emergency vet number. Did you even try?
No.
Oh, I know credit. Is that your next thing?
No, I didn't try. I'm going to be honest. No, I had one look at him and I said, you're going to doggy heaven. Because half his head is hanging off.
I'm sure to God that was some relief to the dog. You're going to doggy heaven.
Emma, I can talk about the fox as well. There was no way the fox that I hit was ever going to get up and run around the forest again. Not in a million years. All of his legs were broken.
You're all like qualified vets, and you all decide.
But okay, I actually did try to do something. I tried to move him off the road, and he went for me. He absolutely went for me.
Well, if you were knocked down and some idiot came out and started trying to move you, wouldn't you go for them as well? Wouldn't you? Like, come on, it's a wild animal. What do you expect? Oh, please, I'll lick your hand for knocking me down.
Well, hang on, because Mary, what did you do with the rabbit that you ran over?
My husband went back and picked him up, and he was still alive, so he broke his neck. We put him in the boot, brought him home, skinned him, and cooked him.
You brought him?
You cooked him.
So you hit a rabbit. He wasn't dead. Your husband got out of the car, broke his neck, and you brought him home and you had him for your dinner.
Skinned him, and a couple of days later, he hung him up, and a couple of days later, we cooked him.
God, there's lovely people out there, isn't there? Sweet God, what sort of people? Like, I can see why there's horses dying in ditches, and I can see why there's dogs being actually badly treated if there's people like this around. It's unreal. Like,
but again, with the case of a rabbit, Emma, what should somebody do when they hit a rabbit?
Well, there's a foundation called Kildare Animal Foundation. You can contact them.
At 2 o'clock in the morning? Will they be there ready to take my call?
I guarantee you they have an emergency number. All animal shelters.
But I live in North Dublin. They're hardly going to come from Kildare to North Dublin.
I live in North Dublin too. And yes, I could ring my vet and get him out.
Now, this was on a lonely country road in the middle of Wexford at 2 o'clock in the morning.
So was it a tasty rabbit? Like you rang its neck?
No, he was a bit tough.
Yeah,
because he was too fresh.
Well, I can tell you one thing.
Sorry, you're saying the rabbit was a bit tough?
He was, yeah.
Well, hopefully, it's a pity you didn't choke on the bloody rabbit.
Sorry about that. Now, it was years ago. I possibly wouldn't do it now, but there you go. That was just
okay, and then we've won that story, and that's from you, Jessie. You're on 98 FM. How are you, Jessie?
Hi. I'm just laughing at taking the rabbit home and cooking it. It's roadkill, isn't it? What I did, I was down to town, and somebody... Are you there?
I'm listening to you.
Yeah, and somebody hit a pigeon, and the poor pigeon was in bits. Its wing was hanging off, one of its legs was broken, and there was a woman and a child, and they were on the phone to the vet, and I grabbed the phone and said to the vet, look, the wing's hanging off, one of his legs is broken, what'll I do? There's a brick here, will I drop it on its head? And they said, well, yeah, if you can do that, do it. And I said, okay. And I said to the woman, please take your child away. And I picked up the rock and dropped it on the pigeon's head.
And that was the end of that?
That was the end of that. And then I went off and puked.
Yeah, okay.
But I totally agree with you about going back and running animal
you wouldn't believe, Jessie, the dog's abuse I'm after getting in the last hour on text and WhatsApp for admitting to having done that. Anyway, look, thanks for your call. Emma, thank you for your call. And the next time I hit a rabbit, who have I to ring?
Ring Kildare Animal Foundation or the DSPCA. Just ring somebody. Try and help the animal rather than make judgment. Oh, it's in bits. You're not a vet. You can't make that.
And certainly don't eat it for your dinner.
No, do not eat him for his dinner.
Okay.
That's just disgusting.
Thanks, Emma.
Thank you. Bye.
Thank you. Bye. This is 98 FM's Dublin Talks. Back with you again tomorrow morning at 10 a.m. If there's anything you want to bring up on the show, send us an email, dublintalks@98fm.com. dublintalks@98fm.com. Have a great Tuesday. I'll talk to you in the morning at 10.
Dublin Talks continues now on Facebook and Twitter. Contact the show 24 hours a day on 6797 981.